Welcome back to Simright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in this class, I'll be teaching you how to make this draped Queen Anne corset with gong sleeves, as you can see right there. So right here, I made a rounded basque. You can make your basque sharp if you want. So this is what we have at the back. I prefer to have a keyhole at the back, okay, with buttons. You can also make a corset back. So stay till the end. So to start up this tutorial, you actually need your basic bodice pattern. So here I've already made my basic bodice pattern from the shoulder to the hem, okay, or blouse length. So this is my shoulder line, and this is the center front line, okay, which will be on fold. You can see the folded sign. This is my chest line, my bust point line, my under bust point line, my waistline. This is my hip bone line. So you have to place your tape on your shoulder and get your hip bone. Then you can come down by 3 inches for your back line, okay? So from the waistline, you can come down by 4 inches for your hip bone as well. So right now, we are going to start up the imputing of the neckline. So the armhole, I have to measure the bust area first. My bust divided by 4, that is what I marked there. Then I came in by 0.75 for the armhole, and I'm connecting, as you can see right there. Okay, so on my waist is divided by 4. Whatever you have, you mark. There is no dart intake. I'm not using any dart for this dress. Then your hip circumference divided by 4, you mark it on the back line, as you can see. Then use your pattern ruler and rule it out, as you can see. So this is what I expect you to have before we go ahead with this project. So I'm going to use my bra cups 2 for this drafting. So I'm using my exact bra cup of 40 size, okay? So my circumference of the bust is 40. So I have a detailed video on how to determine your actual bra cup size. I'll be dropping the link on the description box below. So now we want to start up constructing this. So I'll have to mark out my natural neckline, which is 3 inches, and from that point I'm going to take 7.5 inches and mark. So it depends on how deep you actually want your neckline to be. From your natural neckline of 3 inches, you can go down by 7 or by 8, and you can even connect to the bust point. So for this particular corset, we are going to allow the cup to drop on the under bust, okay? But this time it's not going to be the normal corset we make. We are going to tilt our cup a little bit. So from here, you take 0.5. From that 7.5 inches, take 0.5 inches. Make sure the tip of this cup touches at that 0.5 line and rests on the under bust. You can see how I'm placing it. So it depends on how you actually want this to curve, okay? That determines how you are going to place it, okay? So here I will go up by that 7.5 I just marked from my natural neckline of 3 inches. So once I do that, I'll place it on the under bust. Make sure it rests on the under bust before you connect. So you can see me connecting, and you can see how I tilted the cup to give you this effect. So after marking now, this is what we'll have. You can see that the cup is slightly slanted. It's slightly slanted. So if you want it deeper, it means your cleave line, you have to go down a little more. No longer 7.5, it can be 8 or 8.5. Okay, but you have to be careful you don't expose your bust. So now we are going to start up marking the Queen Anne neckline. From that point, you mark 2 inches and we connect it to the 3 inches already natural neckline. So this is my yoke line right now. You can see that. So once you have gotten that yoke line part, we are now going to construct the basque, okay? So the basque, I will connect it from the tip of the center front back line to the hip bone line. So if you want the back a little more deeper, it's all your choice. You can go down from the hip bone by 4 inches or 5 inches if you want it a little more deeper. So now I'm cutting through the center front area. As you can see, I'll go in by 0.5 and cut and follow the bra cup neckline, Okay, so once I get there, I'll be cutting out the yoke, the Queen Anne neckline yoke. So I'm going to cut through the armhole. Okay, then once I get there, I'm going to cut out the shape of that cup. We don't actually need the shape of the cup. So you can see the cup there. So I just want to cut it off right now, as you are seeing right there. Okay, so this is the shape of what we are going to work with right now with our cup. You can see how it's sitting right in there with the Queen Anne yoke. Can you see that? So that is the cup we are working with. So for the back is actually very simple. I've already have written my shoulder line, my center back. Now I came in by 0.5 on the mid armhole line as usual, and I measured my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10 inches. So I will connect to get my back armhole. Okay, so once that is done right now, I will just go ahead. I've already marked the from my shoulder to the bust line, so I'll just simply place the front piece, making sure it aligns with the center front and aligns on the armhole line. Then I'm going to trace out exactly what I have for the front piece. Can you see that? That is what I have for the front piece. So I'm going to practically trace everything out. Okay, so but the most important thing is that you have to align it very appropriately. So now I'm tracing now, and I'm going to come in with my curve ruler to get the exact traced line. Can you see that? So the same way I drafted for the front, that's how I'm placing it for the back. So taking away my pattern now, we have our complete back of this dress. Can you see that? So now we are going to contour the center front line. So you have to place your tape on the shoulder once again and measure your waistline. So this is my waistline. So I'm going to go in from that waistline. On that point, I'll go in by 0.75 to avoid zip bulge. Can you see that? So I'll go ahead and align it to the neckline as usual. I'll also take it back to the basque line. That is for the back. So now I'm going to replace what I have on that waistline, because now I have a shortage. So I'll just measure my waist circumference. I'm using the other part of my tape because my tape is not actually good. So just measure what your waist circumference divided by 4 is and replace that contour line. So that is exactly what I just did right now. So now I want to create the keyhole line. Okay, but before that, I'm creating the neckline. The neckline is 1 inch connected to the 3 inches natural neckline. So now I'm going to create a little keyhole to it. I'll come down from this point by 0.5 inch. Once I come down from there by 0.5 inch, I'll place my pattern ruler and create this keyhole at the back of this dress. So make sure you adjust appropriately. So you can see me adjusting appropriately. Okay, I'll have my buttons at that point, keyhole, and then my zipper. So now we are done for the back. Like I said, it has no dart. So I'm going to cut right now, and I want you to watch the areas I'm cutting right now. So please try and follow video instructions as you are working on this dress, so that you'll be able to get this perfectly done. So I'm cutting through the keyhole now, and I'm taking it to the back contour line. Can you see that? And we are done with the back cutting. Okay, so this is the basque shape for the back as well. Although I later cut the back basque back because I didn't want a basque at the back, but as we continue with this tutorial, you are going to see how I eliminated it. So these are my the patterns and my bra cup, regling boning, and my fabric. So I'm using 4 yards of fabric right here. So you need 4 yards. Okay, if you want the gathers much, you can go ahead and make use of 5 yards. So you can use a silk fabric, or you can also use a satin fabric. So this is my regling boning of 0.5 inch and my bra cup of same size. So I'm going to hairstay right now and cut out on my pattern. Now I've cut out, I added 1 inch on the zipper and 1 inch on the side, 0.5 inch all around, and I have both lining and fabric. My yoke line 0.5 inch all around as well, and I added 0.5 inch on the bra cup size. This part is on fold, the center front, and 1 inch on the side. So I'm taking off my pattern now because we want to start ruling our boning lines. Okay, so of course you know how to rule your boning lines, that's not a problem. So at the center front, just rule a straight line. Then you'll be taking from the center front 3 inches and mark 3 inches on the other side, you mark and you rule those lines. So that will give you the second boning on the right and on the left. Then we are going to also use our regling boning to sew this. You can see that. Okay, so after that is done, you can go ahead and mark more boning lines as you wish. Of course, you can see in this tutorial I made plenty boning lines. I have about 4 here, so I'm supposed to have the 5th one. I want to use it to show you what I did. So for the 5th one right here, you can see I've already sewn the other one. So for this 5th one, I measured 3 inches again from that line, as you can see, and I made my mark and took the measurement. So whatever you have on that measurement, please add 2 inches to it for your bone casing fabric. But for the boning itself, you have to take away 2 inches. Then I'll go ahead to wrap my encasement fabric and see how I'm wrapping it right now. So I have a detailed video on how to do this on this channel, so you can check out how to sew regling boning. Alright, so now I'm encasing it right away. After folding it, I'll run my stitches on both sides. Okay, and then I'll cut off the excess. So now I'm done. I've given it a good press. You can see how it's laying nice and flat. This is what the back looks like right now, and this is the lining. There is no boning to the lining at all. It's only the front piece I have the boning structure. So now this is my exact bra cup of 40 size 40, and I'm going to start draping on it with my fabric right now. So I don't actually want to start cutting out my fabric in pieces. Okay, so I'm taking away the rough edges of this fabric. So I'll fold in 1 inch, as you can see, on the bra cup, and I'll secure with my pin. That's the first thing you do. Fold in 1 inch, secure with your pin. After that, you will now start to drape. Okay, you can see how I'm draping using the same fabric, folding them systematically and pinning them. So once you fold, ensure you pin. That is very important. You secure with your pin in a way you can stitch. You can see how I'm pinning it. I'm pinning in a way I can stitch right on top of it at the end of the day. So make sure you arrange your drapes. Okay, I also have a detailed video on how to drape corset cup perfectly. You can check it on the channel as well. So I keep draping till I cover the entire cup. So you can see as I'm draping, I'm also pinning as well. Okay, so make sure your pins are available. So by the time you drape, you have your pins to hold them down before you stitch on your machine. So I'm done right now, and I'm going to run my stitches at the edges of the cup. So I will run my stitches at the edges of this cup all around now. Okay, so I'm done sewing around it, and I've taken off the pins, as you can see right here. So make sure you take off your pins before you cut. So I'm going to trim following the shape of the cup I have right now. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm doing now. So I'll just cut it out following the shape of the cup. And once that is done, you have a beautiful draped cup. Can you see that for this dress? Fine and good. So the next thing we want to do now is I've done that for the 2. So you have to make sure you do this for the 2. So now we want to cut out the lining of this cup. So you have to fold this fabric as if you are making a 360-degree circle. Secure with your pin, place your tape at the tip, measure 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches all around. After marking out 6 inches, then you cut out the circle. Okay, so I've cut out the circle right now, and I've taken off my pins. Here I have a circle and I fold it by 2. So please ensure you get the midpoint after pinning. So the midpoint on the folded edge is 6 inches. I will mark. Then at the top of it, I'm going to measure 1 inch, 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it. You can see how I'm connecting it like a dart. Okay, so I'll go over to my machine, which I've done now. I've stitched and I'm trimming out. So that is what I expect you to do. So at the end of the day, you have your cover. So I'm going to sew the neckline yoke now. Okay, I have both lining and fabric, so I'll just place them right side to right side, and I'm going to stitch the neckline alone. Okay, top stitch and give it a good press. Now I've top stitched, I've given it a good press, as you can see. So the next thing we are going to do is to trim off the edges. Just clean up the edges as you see me do right here. So after cleaning up the edges, we are going to bring in the bra cup and we are going to attach. So I'll be using one to demonstrate to you how to attach the Queen Anne neckline yoke to the bra cup. So you have to make sure you note the part of the bra cup. So you have to make sure you trim off the fabric drape to match up with the cup before you go ahead and sew your neckline. So having done that right now, so I've sewn it, I've stitched it right now, both of the cups on it. So I'll be using this to demonstrate to you how to lay the lining. So I'll come in with the lining right now, and I'm going to lay the lining right side. This is how you are going to place it. Then you lay right side to right side. Can you see? So you have to take away the yoke and lay right side to right side. Secure with your pins, as you can see right here. So after securing with my pin, I'm going to sew at that line. So I've done that, and I'm going to trim it out accordingly. So here I'm trimming it out accordingly, as you can see. So I'm going to top stitch on top of the lining too. You can see the part I'm top stitching. So once I top stitch, I will now hold it inside the cup, just like you make your normal corset. And I've run my stitches already. So I'll just go ahead and trim. So I'll trim to the end right now. Can you see that? So that is what the cup looks like at the end of the day. So right inside I have my hemming gum in it. Okay, I placed my hemming gum inside the cup, and I'll use my fabric steam, or if you have a steam iron, you can go ahead and iron it down to take that exact cup shape on the inside. So after ironing right now, I did the same for the other cup as well. So I used my tailor's stamp to do ironing down, as you can see. So for the front area, arrange the drapes and also make sure they lay nice and flat as well. Can you see how I'm ironing it? So after the inner part, you also iron the draped part. Alright, so we are done. So I'm going to repeat the same for the other side, which I've done now. So it's time to attach this to the bodice of the dress. So I'll flip it and leave 0.5 inch. So make sure you leave 0.5 inch. 0.5 inch. Can you see that? From there, I will leave 0.5 inch and I will sew to the end. Okay, I've done that now, and I'm going to place my lining right now, right side to right side of the lining. So this is how it should be. Then I'll now flip it on the other way, so I'll be able to do what? To stitch the lining parts, because we want to have a perfect inseam finishing at that area. So now you can see I've gone ahead to sew. So this is what I have. So I push in the center front area 0.5, and I'm going to my machine to stitch at 0.5 at that point. So now we are done. You can see what we have right here. So for the back, like I said, there's no dart, no boning for the back. I'll quickly take off my pattern immediately, and I'm going to sew the neckline and the keyhole. So to do that, I'm going to place my fabric lining right side to right side. Okay, so once I place it right side to right side, I'll stitch the neckline and give it a good press. So I've done that right now. So I'm going to insert my loop on the other side. So I come with my bias strip. So I'm going to just insert it. 2 inches is the length of that bias. You make a loop with it and run your stitches at that point and place your lining and sew neckline and the keyhole part. So here I'm done, and this is my loop. I'll use it for my buttons, and this is my zipper area. You see the keyhole at that point. So now we are done with the back. Like I said earlier, the back is no issue. So I'm going to place what I have on the front neckline to sew the shoulder seam line. So this is how I'm sewing the shoulder seam line, as you can see. So I've done that, and I've given it a good press as well. So now the next thing we are going to do is to sew the sides at 1 inch. So you match the back lining together and the fabric. So you can see it. I've stitched everything normally the way you join your dress. So I'm going to cut out the basque for the back now. I don't need any basque at the back, so I'll just go straight with my ruler to the center front from that side, and I'm going to mark out that basque I added and make it straight. Okay, I just felt like removing it because it does not actually make sense for this gathered dress. So I'll do the same, repeat what I did on one side on the other side as well. So after that, I'm going to take the measurement of from the center front to the next center front, center back, sorry, including my basque. I'll go ahead and take it to other end. So whatever I have here I have 47 inches. So this 47 inches, I'm going to multiply by 3. So if I multiply 47 by 3, I have 141. I will divide it by 3.1. Got 47, and I'm going to multiply that 47, which I got 141. So a yard is 36. I'll just divide the 141 by 36, and I'll be having like 4 yards. So I'm going to cut out my full 4 yards of desired length now. Okay, so the full length of my dress is 45 from shoulder, and if I take off this 22 inches where my hip bone is resting, I'll be left with 24. So this 24 inches, that is what I'm going to use now to gather into this waistline. So I'm going to make 24 inches of my dress. So here I have already gathered it. Can you see? 4 yards by 24 inches length. So for the inner part, I'm going to cut out a 180 degrees flay, which I have done now. So you know how to cut your 180 degrees flay. Whatever measurement you have, which is 47, divide by 3.14. That's how I got this half circle. So you can see my half circle right now. So simply go ahead and do what? Attach it, which I have done now. So I've attached it to the lining. I don't actually have much of this silver lining, so that's why I'm using it. So it's time for us to sew the zipper, and I'm sewing an invisible zipper to this dress. So I'm arranging my dress, and you can see I've stitched the invisible zipper. You can see everything is laying nice and clean. So my buttons, I'm going to sew my buttons to the upper part. So it's time for the sleeve. So here you can see my sleeve. I have many lines here. First of all, I have to step down from that is my sleeve line. Okay, but because it's going to have a puff, from that sleeve line down is my sleeve cap. Okay, normal sleeve measurement, my biceps and the length of the dress, which is 11 inches of the sleeve. So the sleeve width is 12 inches. Okay, you can also make it 11 inches. So I'm going to mark out the same sleeve cap width, which is your bust divide by 6 plus 1.5. Then I step up by 3 inches because of this puff. So this is how I'm going to place it now. Can you see? I'm going to place my pattern ruler or freehand it if my ruler cannot give me the exact curve I need for that puff. So once I've done that, I will extend the cap a little bit more by 1.5, then connect back to the length of the sleeve to have this gong sleeve. So the length of the sleeve, I'm going to also transfer it to what I have right there. Can you see? So I make a mark and have my gong sleeve. So now I'm going to cut out what I have on this gong sleeve, and I'm going to place it on my fabric. I'm cutting lining, I'm cutting fabric for it as well. So after cutting it out now, I'm going to spread it open and place my fabric. Okay, so I'm going to cut the fabric. So I've cut it and I added 0.5 inch all around my sleeve. So after that, I'm going to pick up clean up the edges, then reduce my lining by 1 inch. So that's what I want to do. So I'm reducing my lining right now by 1 inch because I'm going to use this lining to turn the men's sleeve. So I'm reducing it at 1 inch, and I'm going to cut this 1 inch from beginning to the end, as you can see right here. So once that is done, I'll come in with my fabric, my men sleeve fabric, and place them right side to right side. So this is what I'm doing now. So if I place it right side to right side, I'll be using my crinoline. I'll also use my hemming gum when I'm stitching right now. So here you can see I've stitched hemming gum and crinoline as well. So I'm going to top stitch right now. Don't get the crinoline to the end of the seam allowance, just give a gap of 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and flip all the seams to the part of the crinoline and the lining, which I've done right now. That is top stitching. Then I'll lay this side to the other side to close it up neatly at 1/2 inch. So I'm done doing that. You can see I close it up at 1 inch. So I'm turning the sleeve, as you can see right there. So if you can give it a good press at this point, fine and good. So I'm matching the notch area for the sleeve and for the fabric now. Then I'm going to run my gather stitches on top of it. Okay, so I'll go to the machine now to run my gather stitches, but make sure you match up the lines, you match up the notches of the sleeve grain line. So I'm going to gathering stitch. So let me do that now. Now you can see how it looks inside, and I've gathered them. So this is my gather stitches. You can see the gathers right here. So I did the same for this. So the next I will do is to attach this to the bodice of the dress. So I'll just come in like this and open up the sleeve. Then I'm going to match this from here. So at the shoulder seam line, I'm going to place my notch. This is my notch. I'll secure it with my pin. Okay, so I'll also match up the one for the sleeve at the one, and I'll go ahead and do what? Run my stitches. That's what I'll do for the both of them. So now I'm done sewing the sleeves. You can see what I have right here on the sleeve is inside. Its inside is neat. So I'll just go ahead and serge the armhole. Okay, and we are done with this class. So I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop a comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again. See you in the next class. Bye.